I told him, I said, I will have Adam at Fox News investigate, take this story and run with it, because I am sure I'm not the only one.
No smudge here and a smudge there.
This is not right, the way they done this paperwork.
They very well could have been deceived.
We have a follow-up to a Fox 13 News investigation from 2 weeks ago. More customers have come forward with contradictory paperwork from General RV.
Bob, each of the contracts come with a huge balloon payment that the customer did not expect. Fox 13's Adam Herbets broke the story and joins us again tonight. Adam.
Yeah, Bob Kelly, if it was only one smudge, that could have been theoretically a mistake. But now we are finding a pattern. And because of our story, the Motor Vehicle Enforcement Division has confirmed it is investigating General RV for potential fraud.
This is a copy that I got. I signed it here and here and here. My wife signed it there. I signed it here and signed it there. I signed it here and signed it there. And down here, General RV is blank.
This man says he wishes a few missing signatures were the only thing wrong with the General RV contract for his 2015 Tiffin Allegro.
Well, I would watch Fox 13 News the other day that you had on TV with a young lady that had a smudge on her numbers. So I looked at mine and I got the same thing.
You could definitely see that that's been tampered with.
We first introduced you to Lisa Pueblo from Farmington 2 weeks ago when she showed us discrepancies with her General RV paperwork. She says the dealership convinced her to agree to a 20-year loan, but was surprised years later when she saw the number 119 typed on the same line as 240, cutting the length of her loan in half and setting her up with a $63,000 balloon payment due in 2025.
I would have walked away. There is no way I can come up with $63,000. It says 240 months. Everything on here says 240 months. I don't know how they've done it, but everything on everything says 240 other than where it's been typed over that 119.
No smudge here and a smudge there. It looks like the 119 was stamped on top of it.
Roger Barnes from Midvale is a different customer with the same type of smudge on his contract. He's facing a more expensive balloon payment, $83,000.
Do you think this could be happening to more people?
I think so. I really do. If they've done it to me and to her, who else knows?
We've been stressed as to what and how we were going to deal with that here in the next year and a half.
Jamie Preciado in Colorado also has the same smudge and a $105,000 balloon payment coming up in 2023.
This is not right, the way they done this paperwork. How they done this, I have no idea.
And then there's the Beergard family in Tooele. They showed us their carbon copy, 240 on the same line as 119, plus a surprise $73,000 balloon payment.
To me, it's one of the most crookedest things that we've ever got into.
Once they found out, they were fortunate enough to have enough money to pay off the loan in full.
It is an ongoing investigation, obviously, and we wouldn't have had this investigation without you bringing it forward.
Alan Shinny, director of Utah's Motor Vehicle Enforcement Division, has opened a fraud investigation into General RV.
I watched your initial story, and to be frank with you, I thoroughly appreciated the story because that's really what it is about. The first thing I did when I got into the office the next morning is I wanted some answers.
In your 20 plus years of doing this, have you ever seen a case like this with multiple smudges on multiple contracts?
Never seen that before. I mean, it's one thing to say, look, you have paper jams. Everyone's got paper jams. Everyone's got carbon problems, but not identical across the board to different transactions. I have never seen that before.
Can you even fathom a reason why that could happen?
They very well could have been deceived. It's sure looking that way.
I just don't think it's right because they're taking advantage of the people.
The smudge is not the only thing these customers have in common. Each of them bought from the General RV location in Draper between 2013 and 2015. None of them say they knew about a balloon payment until years later, when they learned the dealership sent cleaned up copies of their contracts to their respective credit unions.
The credit union's paper shows 119. I mean, there's two different papers here.
If this is what they showed me, I would have never done it.
And most importantly, none of these customers' paperwork show math that adds up to a 10-year loan.
When you signed this contract, were you also looking at these numbers up here?
Yes, because when it reflects to the payment.
I think most people aren't concerned with trying to double check the math, like you've done.
Mountain America Credit Union said it could not comment on the specifics of individual cases, but Fox 13 has spoken to multiple experts in the auto industry, all of whom say the faulty math on these documents is very concerning, even more than the smudge.
Anytime we find anything that we don't think is right, then we're going to check it out.
In each and every case, it is clear that the total payment was calculated with terms that the customers had in mind, 20 years or 240 months. Investigators agree.
Clearly, after reviewing what you showed me, it clearly says that. That does not make sense.
The math still has to add up, right?
It does have to add up. We would argue that point to the county attorney's office. If they interpret it as fraud, then we would be able to file charges.
Almost seems like it was shady intentional.
You just can't do things like this. It gives General RV a bad name. We'll never buy anything from them again. We won't. We won't even look at them.
General RV's got their money already. That's the sad part about it. They've already got their money because they've already financed it.
And how big was his balloon payment?
$83,000.
And how does he think he's going to come up with $83,000?
He's on a fixed income. He's on Social Security.
That's catastrophic.
In an email to Fox 13, General RV insists none of their employees have done anything wrong. Still, they have not provided an explanation for the smudges or the incorrect math listed on all of these contracts. Since our first story ran, multiple credit unions have told Fox 13 they are taking a closer look at all of their General RV contracts on file to see if they find the same problems.
Just to be clear, there is nothing unethical or illegal about balloon payments. So is the meat and potatoes of this issue purely the way the buyers allege the contract was manipulated?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. They're actually pretty common, balloon payments. It's one of the ways that you can bring down the total value of your loan, paying it off in 10 years rather than 20. In most cases, people either sell their RV or they refinance, but still the most important thing is both parties have to agree to it and the math has to add up. That is not the case here, and that is not what these customers say they were expecting at all.
Adam, I would imagine a lot of General RV customers are taking a look at their paperwork right now to see whether their contract is also smudged. Now, if they do find a discrepancy, if their contract is smudged, what should they do?
Investigators want anyone with a similar problem to please file a complaint with the Motor Vehicle Enforcement Division. It's right there on your screen, their website, mved.utah.gov. Also, if you would like Fox 13 to look at your paperwork, please email it to us at iteam@fox13now.com.